Yeah, yeah. Unashamed, unafraid. I'm trying to walk the walk. Truth on the mic, no shame here, just real talk. Came from the outside, never fit in. Now we tell the story and the healing begins. No front, no mask, just telling the truth. Keep it real, keep it raw, speaking straight from the booth. If you feeling like an outsider, this one's for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Unashamed, Unafraid. We are unashamed of sexual addiction recovery and unafraid of coming unto Christ for healing. Typically on Live Unashamed episodes, we'll discuss a topic that we need to work on in recovery or that we're experiencing, and then we'll commit, like, this is what I need to do. This is my next step in recovery. But what we haven't done is come back and say, how are you doing on that commitment that you made? Me, James, and Joshua are going to follow up on episode 151, which was literally over a year ago, where we talked about, does anyone remember the title of that episode? Filling the Void of Addiction, I believe.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was Joshua's first episode. And then Mason's going to follow up on some of the stuff he's been learning and experiencing kind of in his journey with God, since that's a little bit more of a new thing.
Referencing what episode roughly?
193. How can I trust God?
Yeah, we probably recorded it about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So let's do it. James, I want you to start first because...
I'm the cool old guy. Accountability to 151. What did I say I needed to be accountable for in 151?
you said...
You'd specifically talked about how when you were having occasional slip-ups, you said they were like once every 6 months or something, but you were just kind of ignoring them and not really being accountable for them, and you wanted to change that.
And I think, if I remember correctly, Chris kind of challenged you, like, what do you actually need to do in recovery to get to the place where you feel like you are sober, you are recovered? And you said...
Probably be accountable. Yeah. All right. So to report back, I decided to be accountable. And for me, I just needed to put some accountability software on my phone. I knew that I could probably figure out how to override it, but I didn't try. I didn't want to learn how it worked. I tried not to learn how it worked. I just assumed that it was recording everything and that I would have to be accountable for whatever happened. So, to this day, I have not bothered to learn how it works or tried to figure out what the loopholes are. I'm just going to assume that it works, and if I were to choose to engage, that I would have to talk about it with my accountability people.
Which software did you download?
I went with Ever Accountable.
Right on. That's what I use.
It's such a cool way that you describe that, though. It's so different than what I've tried, which is I ramped up accountability before I did any healing in order to try to bypass the healing.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. I always say I spent half my life setting up the filters and half my life getting around them. So that's what's really cool is accountability done in a healthy way is a critical piece of recovery.
Yep. And like I needed accountability at the beginning of the process to come out of hiding, to learn to be honest. For me, like probably in that episode, we kind of talked about how it has come and gone and evolved over time. And I was right in that, I needed to be accountable. And so I got that software over a year ago, and surprise, surprise, I'm over a year sober, no slip-ups, nothing.
Well, it's easy to be accountable when you never act out.
Right, and yep.
Way to go.
Just knowing that I was going to have to tell my accountability partners, my wife, other people, that was enough to be a deterrent.
That's awesome.
To the occasional slip-ups, because I was like, there was no ramifications last time.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can slip up if I want to every 6 months. It's not a big deal. It's only a couple minutes. Like, I kind of had gotten past a lot of the things that made pornography real rough from a shame standpoint and all that. It wasn't a big monster in my life anymore. It was just this thing that kind of popped up that didn't have a lot of energy for me anymore. And so,
do you feel any different?
Worked.
Because I know, like, For me, often I have based my worth on sobriety.
I guess if I feel different, the only thing that feels different is I just feel proud of myself.
Yeah.
You know,
you were in
I'm
a
just
pretty
proud
good
of the
place, I think, before too.
I'm just proud of myself for taking the final steps and working through the whole process, and for it to have taken me 13 years to really kind of get to this point. Like for me, that was my journey. I know some guys are faster at that and some are slower. And for me, that was the speed that I needed. I had felt for a long time that I was essentially healed from a lot of the stuff that was really driving it. And now it was just sort of some old kind of patterns or habits or nonchalance that was causing me to just go ahead and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Part of the whatever was part of the healing. I needed to make it so it wasn't so big a monster and have it not define me and not have it all of a sudden be like, well, if I looked at it, I'm not worthy to be loved, not worthy to be in connection with myself or with God or with anybody else. I just had to go through a healing process. Have I had a temptation come in over the last year? Yeah. But I'm like, I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
And that was enough.
That's super hopeful for me to know that somewhere down the line, there can come a time where you're not going to have to be fighting it every single moment all the time. Because I feel like right now, one temptation comes in and it's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then another one, then another one, and eventually. And so it's nice to hear that you've gotten to a place where your values are taken over. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean,
and
values, it took a lot of healing. It took a lot of
Sure.
perception shifts, therapy.
Yeah, obviously 13 years, right? It hasn't come easy. But
right.
It's nice to know that can come.
How about you, Sam? What did you
my commitment
commit to?
during, I think, was just to begin the process of developing true connection with brothers, which a year ago I sucked at in a non-shaming way of myself. I was just terrible at it. I had no idea. I had so much wounding that I hadn't overcome. I had a lot of stuff I was still processing with my relationship with my dad. And if your relationship with your dad is like my relationship was with my dad, then you've learned a pattern of relating to men that's very emotionally distant. And so I just didn't see the need for relationships with men because I did just fine, in quotations, without it for so long. And, I actually prayed for that multiple times following that episode. God, lead me to the brothers. I don't know where they are. I need to find safe people in my life.
Yeah.
Can you help me find them? Mason's sitting in the chair right there. Joshua's sitting in the chair right there. In fact, it's funny. I didn't know that we were going to become such good friends while we were talking about that episode.
The night we recorded the episode. That's
and
awesome.
we're very close. I came to your house after you had surgery.
Had dinner at my house.
Me and
met
Jasmine
my kids.
have come over to your house.
Went to the ballet with us.
Yeah, we came to your daughter's ballet. I consider. There's certainly a geographical distance that's hard to kind of conquer there, but we've just become super close. Now, what's left for me to do in that work is I just got married within the last year. I think what I've noticed over the past 3 months is that my moods often tend to be severely affected by her moods.
That's called codependence.
Exactly. I've relied on her to regulate me emotionally way too much. And that's no recipe for recovery. So that's where I'm at. I'd like to get to a point where I'm reaching out more. I have the brotherhood. It's a matter of using it more often so I can get healthy.
Can you share with our listeners, because I know a lot of guys out there would love to find some brotherhood, what steps did you take to cultivate the brotherhood? Like you were praying, hey, God, help me have some brothers in my life.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for you, you were at a podcast and two of you were there, so that.
Well, that's how any authentic relationship is going to come up. You're going to meet someone somewhere.
Sure.
Right, and it was random for me as well. But here's what happened.
So, I'm imagining someone's going like, well, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do I do it?
Yeah, so two things that happened. I started sharing my heart with people when I started to feel like, you know what, this is a person who I could share my heart with. I was looking for it actively, and I was praying for it. That was number one. Number two, and Mace, I hope you're okay if I share this, but Chris actually set me and Mason up to go to lunch
Oh yeah.
And Mason, I don't.
Well, what happened was Steve was like, "Yo, Sam's our boot camp unofficial salesman."
Yeah.
And I gave you a call.
Yeah.
We met at boot camp, then we went to lunch.
Yeah.
And then the bromance was just born.
Yes, but before that, hold on.
The
Before
blind
that, though,
date set up
before
for
that, I actually went to Chick-fil-A. Do you remember you missed lunch?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what I didn't do is
You're right.
spell you off.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But that's what we're doing
Like
now.
you missed lunch with me, and I showed up at Chick-fil-A, and you never showed. But I was like, I'm gonna give him a second chance because he seems like a cool dude.
Goodness.
What I didn't do is just accept that I was always gonna be alone and that like I couldn't trust anyone. I gave it a second chance, and now like you're my best friend, dude. Like we talk about. I had a slumber party with you the other day.
Yeah, dude.
So, and I just genuinely believe in the power of giving people a second chance. Like, if you want to develop a relationship, you need to battle for people.
Yeah,
And
that's something you do for me all the time.
Yeah.
Just this last week, I totally overbooked myself. Didn't show up to UCAP, and you were like, "Bro," I texted you, and you called me. And you were just like, "Bro, just letting you know, don't feel any shame. You're good. Battling for your heart." Totally changed it for me.
Yeah, I could hear the relief in your voice, dude.
Oh, so big. Yeah.
Because I know you well enough now to know when you didn't show up for UCAP, you were like,
I was in my head for sure. Yeah, dude.
And I was just like, hey, dude,
You pissed
battling
me?
for your heart.
Yeah.
You and I are good. I love you.
Everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Joshua, you're up, dude.
Sounds good. So 151 was like my first time coming on here, and I was nervous.
You were
and
sweating
scared.
so bad,
sure.
dude.
And then you guys asked me a question, and if you go back and listen, they'll be like, "So, how about you, Josh?" And I'm just like, I had blacked out. I don't know what you just said. Help me out here. And asked again, and we kind of left with me being like, maybe connection. I don't know. But there was something that Chris said afterwards, actually, that really connected with me, which was to trust God more. And I mentioned this in a different episode we recorded today, but I do tend to let God be my crisis manager. You know, when things are going good, it's easy for me to just forget about God. And a lot of times too, even though he's shown up for me so many times, I'll still find myself going, man, is he going to do it again? Is he going to show up again for me? And so I just won't pray because I'm like, well, what if he doesn't show up? And then I go back and think about experiences I've had, and it's just like, it's silly for me to not trust him anymore. And that was what Chris talked about a lot, was like, I need to be better at trusting God. And when he mentioned that, I was like, that's probably something I need to work on better. I'm being less structured in the way that I am connecting with God than I have been in the past. I'm not as worried about making sure that, I'm checking the boxes and allowing God to show up in whatever way that turns out to be. Ironically, I'm probably doing better right now with doing my scripture study and trying to do things, even though I'm not trying so hard to do it anymore. But I do have a little bit of that fear that he won't show up. So I think I should keep working on this particular thing, and I think I need to make sure that I have that relationship with him where he can help me through everything, the good and the bad. Did I pass?
I feel like you're dancing around it. What do you really need from God right now, Joshua?
Sam had a really long conversation with me before this. Yeah, this is a thing that I am passionate about, that I love being a part of, and it means a lot to me. And I have other things like that as well that I'm a part of, that other recovery-oriented organizations I'm a part of, and there's just a lot of fear in some of the relationships that I've developed there. When I talked about things coming to a head, I feel like I need to have some conversations. I'm worried about the outcomes. I feel like I really need God's direction in handling the way everything's gonna go, because it's. I really care about everybody that I'm involved with in these other groups. I don't want any bridges burned. You know, I just want everyone to act like friggin' adults and just be okay. But I'm worried that won't happen. So I'm scared of dealing with that, and I think I've been putting it off for a while. But
I love it, brother.
love you, man.
Thanks for letting me push you. All right, Mace, you want to finish us off? 193.
We talked about a lot about my relationship with God, and that was a while ago, so it's changed a little bit. And we've about a month ago we had a talk about God and about the shame that I feel in church and religion and all that with God. And James was like, "Dude, it's you, right? Like it's the way you see it." And honestly, I left it. Bullshit. That is not. No, it isn't, dude. These guys have shamed me. Stuff things have said have been shaming, and I just had a big old piece of humble pie served to me last week. I was just listening to something and Richard Rohr, and he said it's people experience life as they are, not as it actually is. And I was just like, dang, he was right.
I'm always right. This is why you have me on the show. I've just walked a few steps ahead of you.
Yeah, just a few, right?
and it just I just happen to know this path pretty well.
So I've been working with Jason, and I'm breaking it down like crazy right now. Black and white thinking, tell me why this isn't true, this is transactional, and just like really like learning and diving into those. But the main thing that I'm going into right now is the very basic, just learning how to feel pain. Because right now I'm numbing out so much that I'm not even giving God space to even be there with me, right? Like how can I feel God if I'm not even acknowledging pain?
Yeah.
I'm literally like act out straight to YouTube, straight to music, straight to work. Whatever it is where I don't have to acknowledge the fact that I just acted out, the fact that I'm going to have to go tell Erica about it later that night, right? And so I'm at the very basics of just like, and it's really sporadic. Like it's not consistent at all. Like there's still so many times where I'm like, I'm afraid to go to God. And there's like once in a little bit where I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here with my pain. I'm just going to be here. And so that's what I'm working on right now. I found something that was really good for me. Me and Jason were talking about this. And we talked about the definition of recovery for me, because I found that I was piggybacking off of everyone's recovery. I was like, oh, James does it like this? Well, let's just do it like this. Then that way I can be done. And I found the silver bullet, and I'm good. That's the easy way. And so I found the definition right now for me is that I'm trying to get my relationship with God. The reason for all of this, the reason for the porn, the reason for the years of everything that's been going on in my life, the shame, the things, that God has made something beautiful out of what's happened in the past. And for so long, I've looked at it as just primarily I need to get sober. And now I've looking at it so much bigger and being able to say, I think that there's something bigger here. And it's not just to quit looking at porn. It's to find a relationship with God, with my Father. So I've been able to have some cool experiences around that. I'm just starting to learn. I'm at the very beginning. So.
It's super normal for all of us to want to avoid pain, to not sit with pain, go through pain, experience uncomfortable emotion. I think it's worth pointing out that in Psalm 23, this is the Lord is my shepherd. In verse 5, it says, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies." God's preparing the table before you in the presence of your enemies. He doesn't prepare the table when you're in a comfortable place. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, and thy rod and thy staff comfort me. He is with you when you're in the shadow of death. When you are facing the difficulty, and he leads you in paths of righteousness. If you believe that he's leading you in the path of righteousness, it might be a painful one still. But in the experience of that he prepares your table. That's what allows him to prepare the table. Think about the Israelites being let out of Egypt. He led them to be so-called trapped. Why? As he says in here, he restoreth my soul, he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. The power of his arm was revealed when they got to the water and were like, great, we're trapped, we're going to die. Trust in God more. And he parts the waters. In the difficulty, he's preparing the table, the feast. But when you're in the comfort, there's no feast that can be prepared. There's no table that can be prepared. God can't make bare his arm and his power when we aren't cornered.
I didn't really have a commitment last time, so kind of want to make another commitment.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Here. Something I realized the other day, I took some time. I acted out on Sunday, and I was genuinely sad because I was like, man, I could have taken this pain and given it to God and been there with it. So I decided to go and do that with the pain I was feeling from acting out. And I realized with my prayers, I'm always past or future. I'm always thinking like, thank you for this in the past, or please bless this in the future. Right? That's my vocabulary.
Yeah.
And Jason was talking about the now, right? This Naked Now, the book that Richard Rohr wrote, and I'm listening to it right now. And that's my commitment that I want to do. Is I want to try to find God in the now, in the pain in the now, and what's going on, what I'm feeling,
and talk to him in the now.
Yeah, just be here in the now.
Yeah.
So
that's the only place God is found, is in the present.
Trying to figure out what that looks like and go on that journey. So
that is interesting. That is how we're taught to pray. That's the language we're taught to use.
So that's my commitment.
I've never thought about that before.
Try to find God in the now.
Yeah.
I'm going to piggyback on that as we're closing up, and I'm going to say I'm going to try to find God and brotherhood with you in the now. Often when you and I talk, we leave Jesus out of it. It's like, let's connect, but we don't talk about.
It's true.
We don't. I don't know. I guess I'm realizing that. That's my commitment. Shoot us an email. Sam, James, Mason, Joshua, unashamedunafraid.com. What is your next step in recovery? Thank you so much for listening to Unashamed Unafraid. You can find us on social media at Unashamed Unafraid. Get access to the bonus content and become an outsider on unashamedunafraid.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if this was helpful to you, share it with a friend. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, continue to live unashamed.